Maybe. Is anyone getting a notification that we're recording? Ah, there we go. Okay. So just to restart, thanks everyone for joining for this session on the Ag Technology program, the brand new Bachelor of Agriculture Technology. My name's Kyle Kipps. I'm the program head and an instructor in the program. And with us today, we've got a few guests joining. I'm gonna ask them to introduce themselves. Let's start out with Jordy and Kaylee. Why don't you say hello?
My name's Jordy.
Hi, I'm Kaylee.
And we're college students here. We're taking the Bachelor of Agriculture Technology course.
And Jordy is in the crops discipline, and Kaylee is in the livestock. So the program is kind of segregated into two streams, and we'll talk more about that. And we're going to come back to some of their background and history, and they're here for your questions. But we're going to turn it over to Dean Josie Van Lent to introduce herself as well.
So welcome, I'm Josie Van Lent. I'm the Dean of Ag Technology and Applied Research here at Lakeland College. Prior to this position, I was the Dean of Agricultural Sciences, so know the diploma programs really well that Kelly and Jordy took. I'm just here to cheerlead and provide moral support. So I think our students can tell the story really well. They live it every day here at Lakeland, as does Kyle. So Kyle, I'm here if there's some questions maybe around how we got here or anything like that. Other than that, yeah, and thank you to those who are joining us.
All right, thanks, Josie. Well, Krista, I'm going to ask if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself now. We've heard from you a little bit, you and your daughter and any other guests that might have joined you, if you want to say hi for us.
Hello, my name is Krista Lapointe, and I'm coming from Moose Jaw Vanier Collegiate here in Saskatchewan, and we're a high school of about 400, and usually students are definitely interested in Lakeland for firefighting and a person in the ag course program. So that's kind of what it is. Did you want to add anything?
My name's Grace Waldenberger, and yeah, I go here at Vanier. It's my mom.
Great, nice to meet you, Grace. Thanks for joining. And Taylor, does your microphone work, or do you want to just say hi in the chat, whatever works for you? And if you want to just soak it in, that's okay too. The way this session's going to run, since we're small in numbers here today, we have an opportunity to have more of a conversation and get to answer some of the questions that you might have. I think we'll start out with just a brief overview of what the program actually entails, and then we'll have Jordy and Kaylee talk a little bit about their experience, and then lots of time for questions. And anytime during this session, if you want to ask anything, just feel free to put use the raise your hand feature, just turn your mic on and interrupt me, or put something in the chat and I'll watch for that and be able to address it. So,
and just to note that Taylor did respond, and I think she's having some sound difficulties, so she's taking it all in. So thanks, yeah. Taylor.
Awesome, good stuff. So yeah, as I mentioned before, this is the first year for this Bachelor of Agriculture Technology program, and this program is the first of its kind in Canada, where we're offering students a chance to receive a bachelor's degree in agriculture technology. And it has a unique structure that's a little different from other degrees you might be familiar with, where in this model, students enter into the program after completing 2 years in a diploma program in an agriculture related field. So the direct entry pathway is either a ag diploma from Lethbridge College, Olds, or Lakeland College. And so 2 years in a diploma program, and then come in what would be your third year into the Bachelor of Ag Technology program. And what that entails, you need to have a 3.2 GPA as your entrance requirements, in addition to completing that diploma. And then you would do a year of courses here on campus. That's what Jordy and Kaylee are doing right now. And they're starting to talk about finding an industry practicum placement that they'll be working on in what is their fourth year or their second year of the Ag Tech program. So 2 years of classroom instruction in a diploma program, 1 year of classroom instruction here at Lakeland in the Ag Tech program, and then a year of industry practicum. And then that's the completion of the degree. The only other outside requirement that you wouldn't do in-house here is there is one course that is in outside of ag or sciences, so more in the arts and humanities. So a lot of students, maybe Jordy and Kaylee, could talk about the courses that they're taking or planning to take. You want to just mention what you're studying for your elective?
So the elective I'm taking right now is an Indigenous Studies class, and I'm doing it through the Athabasca University.
I applied late to come this year, so I actually haven't done mine, and we don't have to do it to the end of our practicum, so we have 2 years to finish it. So I'll be doing it over the summer, and I think I'm going to do psychology, but I'm not 100% set on what I'm doing yet.
And how that fits in, yeah, so thanks for mentioning what you're up to and what your plans are. The program is very practical based, lots of hands-on components, and we generally don't do a whole lot around the arts and humanities here on the Lakeland Vermilion campus. So this is a way to round out that education, and that's part of the requirements of being a well-rounded professional out in the industry. Krista, I see your question here about the practicum. Is that paid? And we're encouraging employers to have those be paid positions. Obviously there's cost for our students, and we recognize that, so we're encouraging them to. And we think that industry has been responding positively to that they're seeing value in having these students as a part of their education. So I think for the most part, they're willing to pay them. But in the event that a student really wanted to do something, maybe for a nonprofit or an organization that doesn't have the ability to pay, but there's good value in education in that experience, then we would allow someone to take on an unpaid practicum. It's just not the direction we necessarily want to see all practicums going. So I think that's kind of my spiel. Josie, do you want to add anything or give some of that historical context on why we're all here?
Sure. So when we were looking at offering a degree in agriculture at Lakeland College, which would be actually our first full degree at Lakeland, we went to industry. We're very industry focused. We're very hands-on, as Jordy and Kaylee can attest to. And Kaylee actually works part-time on our college farm. And so we went to industry and asked, what do they need in terms of, their employees being more educated and offering them more opportunities. So they said 3 things came out. One was ag technology. The whole industry is moving more and more to being technology based. And the second part was a little more ag business training and, understanding how these businesses work. And the third part was building a better you for the workforce. So some leadership kind of training, which is always, sort of, I think for Kaylee and Jordy, it's again, maybe a little bit outside the box relative to production agriculture, but it's super important in the workplace, we know. So we took those were the top 3. So we actually took them and combined them into this degree. They also told us that production and commercial agriculture and understanding of commercial agriculture and production and the agronomy and science, for example, whether it be animal science or crops, was very important because really what industry needs is an integrator that understands the science and the production aspects of agriculture and then the technology piece and can integrate the two. So that's what they wanted. And so they were really pleased with what we have in our diplomas. A lot of industry hires our diploma students, and they like the foundation that we create there in the science and in the learning all about how to manage a farm and what managing businesses is all about through that student managed farm concept. They really liked that. So they said, let's layer on top of that. So that's how we arrived at where we're at today. And hopefully that helps you scope out our program a little bit and what it's about. And I don't know, Kaylee and Jordy, you guys went through the diploma programs, and tell me if you're feeling like we are integrating those as we move this program forward, and any comments you might have around that.
So yeah, I think it's pretty cool because like for our our advanced livestock production class with agriculture technology, it you take lots of the information that you learned from your first and second years, but you like spin it and put technology, like you figure out ways to put technology onto like farms and stuff. So it's more useful because it like actually applies what you learned in your first and second year, if that makes sense.
Really good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kaylee. It was nice that in our second year in crop technology, we got to do SMF and all that. And we got to see how a farm worked and then also, you know, run equipment. And then now we actually get to know more about all the technology that is within the farm. So that was really cool.
Yeah. So do you want to, the SMF, do you guys want to just explain a little bit about the SMF? Student Managed Farm is what it's called. Do you two want to explain a little bit about that? That happens in your diploma, right? As a precursor to this degree. But it's a concept we're super proud of, and you know, it's the experiential learning we do here and we're well known for. But I think again, Kelly and Jordy can tell the story, so take it away.
So I took like animal science, so I'd like know more of the animal science side of the student managed farm. So there's the dairy team, then there's 3 beef teams. There's a research team, a purebred team, and a commercial team. And so those are all beef herds that each team gets to manage, specifically for like different operations. So the commercial team, that's just regular, you know, raising animals for market, calves. And then the purebred, it's like raising seed stock. And then the research team is really cool because they get to work with the research trials happening on camp or on the college farm. So right now there's a garlic salt trial happening. So they get to help learn a little bit about that. And then they also get to do an extensive commercial operation. So they do lots of like extensive grazing, which is a really cool thing to learn because not everyone does that at home. So it's really cool to learn different ways to manage a farm. And then and then there's also the equine team too. So yeah.
And bison, right, Kelly?
Oh,
Yes.
and bison. Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe the bison, it's its own team, right, Josie? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's brand new because we just received a donation to buy. We received a donation of bison and then also money to buy the land base to go with them. So we're just shopping for the land base. We have 100 head of bison 15 minutes from here, and then another 100 head at Rimbey. But they will all be coming here, and the students are we're in the first year of the student managed farm bison team. So yeah, for sure, Kelly. Jordy, how about you on the crop side?
Yeah, I took crop technology my first and second year. So then second year, I was on the student managed farm doing the finance. But there's production, research, finance. What else is it? There's a lot.
You guys look after stewardship too, right? Sustainability pieces.
Yeah, there's mixed farms.
Mixed farm.
Yeah, kind of. There's a lot, anyways. There's like 6 of them, I think. But yeah, I got to do the finance. So we actually get to. So the students that are in their second year, they get to plan the crops. They also get to take off the crops, which is really cool to see, especially because I didn't come from a farm. I come from a beef farm. So getting to see the whole harvest kind of, it was very interesting. And then we also had to move grain. And then I was in the finance. So I actually got to see all of the inputs and outputs of the farm and like all the costs associated with it. So yeah, I don't know. It's each team you do a little bit different, but it was really interesting, and like I highly suggest SMF.
SMF, it's such a hands-on experience too. Like, and you like learn so much too, not just from like working with animals or like working with equipment and taking off crops, but you also like you get a lot of industry connections and like people skills. You learn how like work with like different people, and like you gain a lot of leadership skills too from it.
And the teachers are there to help you, but it's mainly you, the students, getting to make the decisions for that farm.
Yeah, I always say that the students tell me what to do on a regular basis, and that's a good thing here. So, and so how does this tie in with the degree? Well, our the progression of the degree, the students in the degree will become our ag experts for our farm. That's where we're going with this. So they'll tie into the student managed farm model in terms of providing the support and expertise on the technology side. Kyle, do you have things? I'm sure you have things to add too.
I was just thinking, I think a nice case study. Jordy, you want to talk about what we did in lab yesterday, where we were looking at the student managed farm land base and how that might relate back to their production planning?
Yeah, so we got to go around, and for our lab in advanced agronomy this year, we got to go around to some of the fields and dig up some soil and see the different textures and all of the, different, I guess just say like how the different soil textures and all of that vary throughout the field. And we got to, see the different like topography of the fields and really get a advanced learning of how each field, I guess, is and how SMF went and the yields and stuff.
What would you say about, if you remember the discussion we had in the dog leg about some of the production decisions and evaluating return on investment? Does that look the same for everyone?
No, it definitely doesn't. It varies with every farm and stuff, but
there are tools to help you make those decisions.
Yeah, so the college uses a couple different. So we got to use like Farmer's Edge, and there was another one.
Trimble Soil Information System.
So yeah, we got to look at the two programs and kind of see the variation throughout the field, and then kind of see what parts of the field were producing really high yields and what weren't, and then we could go to those fields or those spots in the field that weren't producing so high and kind of figure out why they weren't.
Awesome. Jordy, you weren't expecting a pop quiz, but you did well. Thank you for that. Maybe now is a good time just to ask the room if there's any questions. Taylor, Krista, if you have anything you wanted to know. Yeah, no, I can definitely speak to the number of seats. We have a program cap right now at 30, I believe. Josie, you can correct me if that's changed. And for our first year, we were really fortunate. We had 24 students enroll and a nice mixture. We had 13 in the crop stream and 11 students in the livestock stream. So we were really happy with that. And it makes for a nice size in the program.
Yeah, so our expectations were actually, we budgeted for 14 in the first year. So typically when you offer a new program, it takes a while to build it. So we're really pleased to have 24 great students. And I think it's really neat that we're able to take the students that went through our diploma programs and funnel them into this degree. And often I think it's fair for me to say that it's clearly the students that want advanced learning. So there's some top end students, if I could say that, Jordy and Kelly. So I think it's really neat the way the program is moving along. So there's a question too about, and actually Riley just joined us. So Riley, we've just been through sort of some information on the program, and we're now at the question and answer period. So that's where we're at. So there's a question here about how Bachelor of Ag Tech compares to university degrees in agriculture. Well, it is a full-fledged degree. So you are conferred a degree equal to a degree that would be offered at any university. The difference in this degree is that we're laddering students from diplomas, students that have a current degree. So I have had some questions recently from students that are in degree programs at other institutions that want the technology piece. So students that currently have a degree in agriculture or diploma from other institutions have the ability to funnel into this program, providing that they meet our requirements because of the focus on ag technology, right? So how does it compare? So I would say it really depends on what your passions are and what your interests are in terms of how you choose a degree, whether it's at a university or a college. I think some of the differences. The first couple of years in agriculture at a university, you cover a lot of courses like English and math and, biochemistry. And we have built all of those learning outcomes into our courses, our agriculture courses. So because we're applied, we've taken the math and the science and the English and put it into all of, into the animal science courses, the genetics course, the repro course, the soil science course has quite a bit of chemistry in it, that kind of thing. So that's some of the difference you're going to see going the diploma route. But if your passion, for example, is crop science, then you might want to look at a crop science degree. If your passion is, I'm trying to think what U of S has to offer right now, but they've got some very specific courses in animal science, right? So it really depends on what your interests are, I think. And I would say the biggest difference is at most colleges, you have smaller classes and you get more hands-on learning. So if that's appealing to you and a better way for you to learn, then I think a college is, going through a college like ours is probably will benefit you. So I don't know, Kyle, do you have other things to add to that?
I was half listening. I was doing the chat thing, so excuse me if I overlap. But talking about
between us and maybe a degree from another institution.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know if you touched on, like, we've talked about the student managed farm, and we have the good fortune of having our campus surrounded by our land base and surrounded by our livestock as well, all the various herds that we have. So it gives us just this fantastic opportunity to get out on the farm. And a lot of our lectures are in the classroom, but we've even had chances this fall when the weather's good. Say we're going to talk about the components of a GPS system, and I had a lecture, I had a PowerPoint where we could put that up on the screen, we could talk about it, but it was a Friday, it was pretty nice, so we just went out to the swather and we explored around the equipment, and we took off the different components and talked about what they were and why we'd use them. And we were able to do that in just a little 50-minute block. We didn't have to take a bus anywhere. We didn't have to make any big arrangements. We were just able to do that. And so we do all kinds of things like that in our classes and our labs, which really puts, I think, the learning in action and gives that hands-on opportunity. That's a big thing for me. And I see that in our students too, as something that they would enjoy. I'll let Kaylee and Jordy speak, but help me to remember to come back to speak about industry integration. So go ahead, you two.
I also think what's really cool about the degree program and the in animal science we had too, we go on like field trips too. So far we have went to Kit Scotty to see like a grain dryer entrepreneur. So it was really cool because this guy just started he invented his own grain dryer basically, and now they're selling them like internationally right away. So that was pretty cool. And then we're going on a bison field trip next week too, the livestock stream kids. So we're gonna go and learn different ways of using technology on that bison farm. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we've also had like different guest speakers. So we had Trust Bix come out and talk to us, and we had a robotics engineer come out and talk to us, and the level I can't really say.
Deval.
Yeah. Deval come out and talk to us in the dairy barn actually, and they went over the robotic milker and the herd navigator system with us. So that was really cool.
Yeah, that was definitely a reason why I came back and to this school in the first place, was the hands-on learning. You don't really get it from anywhere else. And I'm a very visual learner and like to touch things. So it's a great opportunity to learn that way. And we get a crazy amount of opportunities within people from the industry. and even just the college here itself and what they have.
And like another nice thing about Lakeland is like it's almost like a little community kind of like it's almost like a little Lakeland family sort of like your teachers all will know you by name and like you're not just a random kid in a huge classroom. Like you'll get called out on like and like they'll ask you like how your weekends were and like everything like that. Like you feel really at home too. Does that make sense?
And because it's such a small class, you get to know everyone really well.
Yeah.
We're all really good friends, which is really nice. And we've kind of known each other throughout this whole 3-4 years, however long we've been here.
So.
And if the question too, maybe I can just add to the question or to addressing the question a bit from a employment perspective. So this degree has equal weighting to any other degree. It's a degree. So an employer is going to see that on your resume and it'll be given equal respect, you know, as to any other degree in agriculture. And this is what employers were asking for. We did a very robust industry needs assessment, you know, in-depth interviews with over 40 people or over 40 sectors of the industry. And this is what they wanted. They were telling us that we need students to have more ag technology. And if you have a look at ag careers and other sites that list jobs, you'll see that many of them now include this technology piece. So really this was a response to industry and their need for graduates in this area. So I think from an employment perspective, whether your degree is from Lakeland or the U of S or the University of Alberta, we have a great reputation in industry. We have over 89% employment out of our graduates here based on surveys that we do regularly. And so we have a really good reputation with industry. Industry really likes the fact that our students have that practical hands-on learning and really understand how, you know, not just a farm business, but how an ag business operates. So.
You also learned how to fly drones, and that was really cool.
That's probably the best thing.
I'm actually really jealous that you guys got to. I invited myself to a lab you guys have with the weed it sprayer. So we bought a weed it sprayer. It's an automatic. It's a really cool technology. So I'm coming to the lab to learn it, but I should have been at the lab on drones.
Yeah.
Well, that was really good. Thank you all for those perspectives. And I think you touched on a lot of the things that I was going to say there anyways about industry. So appreciate that. Let's see, maybe Riley's got a question. Do we want to talk maybe a little bit to round things out if Kaylee and Jordy want to maybe just give a brief rundown of where you're hoping this is going to take you, what your career aspirations are?
Yeah, so I took 2 years of crop technology and then I took a year of ag business, and now I'm doing my degree. But so I don't really know where I want it to take me, but I know it's going to take me to a lot of different job opportunities. So kind of where I end up in my practicum might not be where I'm going to be for the rest of my life, but I definitely want to try working maybe for Farmer's Edge or something with a lot of the imagery and stuff, like the precision farming. And then I also think that drones are very interesting, so I would definitely like to try working somewhere in there too, but something with a lot of technology, because it's always going to advance and your job is always going to be changing, and I like a fast-paced job.
As for me, I'm hoping to get like something kind of similar to like fetal health management services, or help work with a research trial or something using like technology in that way. And I also have been debating expanding into the dairy industry, just because they are so much ahead in technology that there's companies like Deval and Lely that are like willing, actually they were like wanting to hire students from this degree program. So I'm hoping to go like somewhere to do with animal science using technology.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, Riley had a question about how to enter into the program or what this looks like. And just to give you a quick rundown on that. So yeah, if you came to Lakeland College and did a 2-year diploma in ag, then as soon as you've completed those 2 years, you can enroll in the Bachelor of Agriculture Technology program here. The entrance requirement is just that you've completed that 2-year diploma and you've maintained a 3.2 GPA. And I think that's obviously a good route. I would encourage you to do that. But there is also opportunities to transfer to other institutions if you wanted to pursue a degree at, say, the U of S or the University of Lethbridge. Those are options as well, where you could have your diploma recognized for transfer credits there. But it's a different structure.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Riley, this is a degree that we're talking about. So here at Lakeland, that you can take at Lakeland. I'm not sure if I was a little confused by your question, but so you have the option of entering a degree here, or you can also transfer to other universities. And those transfer agreements differ depending on the program and the university. And so that's something you'd have to work out with Alan McMillan, our academic advisor. And we're still working on other options for students out of this program as well. So for perhaps a master's or that kind of thing down the road. There is no degree for the equine major, Taylor, at this point. That's not true. Sorry. You can actually transfer the University of Alberta into one of their animal science programs once you have your diploma in animal science with a major in equine, and you can also enter this program. So you have options with the equine major as well. And yes, you can enter into degrees, including our degree here. And on the block systems, Krista, that really depends on which institution and what program you're looking at entering. So we have a lot of 2+2 agreements, but you need to do your homework a bit in terms of which institutions. And Alan would have a lot of that information. I see Alan's joined us here. And we do have really pretty decent agreements with the U of S for sure. But again, Alan would have all the details. So depending on whether you're transferring from the animal science diploma into, their animal science program, their range program, their crops program, their sustainability program, it really depends on which degree at the U of S or at another institution you're looking at entering as to whether you get a 2+2. But there are lots of options for sure. And I think that if you come to Lakeland and take your diploma, you're going to love us so much, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. Having said that, I have great respect for the other universities, and we've sent a lot of students to the U of S and the U of A, particularly the U of S. I have a grandson there right now in his 3rd year of agriculture, and I think if we'd offered a degree here, he probably would have been here. But so there's definitely U of M as well. Great university. We have really good contacts there with their diploma program people. And Jeff and I both do. And they have some good programs too. I'm not sure of our credit transfer options there. I think generally it's a one-on-one situation, but I do know in the past that they've been very good to our students in terms of credit at the U of M. So maybe Alan can answer some of these questions better than I can.
And as Josie was saying earlier, once you're here, you're kind of here. This is my 4th year here. They can't get rid of me. And I definitely was looking at U of A, and then I saw that they had a degree program like Lakeland here. So I decided I knew everyone here, and a lot of my friends were coming back. So, and I like the hands-on learning, and I knew most of the teachers. So it was I had to come back.
It was a good decision. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking into going to the U of S too because I'd always wanted my degree. So I knew I was gonna go for my degree, but I just didn't know where. And then after looking into like the U of S and like the degree program here, I decided this would be the better option because I also love that there is a practicum, because then you can like show employers like how hardworking you are and what you've all learned at school. And then you're almost like you got your foot in the door kind of in a sense there.
And then I see there's a question if we live in res. I lived in residence my first and third year, but this year I came a little late, so I live off campus.
I lived in residence my first year, and I definitely recommend it, especially
100%.
for first year, because that's really where you'll meet lots of friends, and it's just like, it's such a good experience living dorms first year. I don't live on campus anymore, just because I had to live here too during the summer, so it was just easier to live off campus.
I think from an instructor perspective too, especially for our first year students coming in, living on residence is a really good thing because it's a stone throw away from the classrooms. Like it's a couple 100 meters, so it makes it a lot easier to get to class when it's 40 below. But the other big thing is students that live in residence get integrated and plugged into the community so much quicker, and it's a lot easier to meet people, as Kaylee and Jordy mentioned, and they form those lifelong friendships and relationships. So I think that's a really great thing and a real opportunity for incoming students. Clubs, yeah. Ag especially, we've got lots of opportunities. I'm gonna turn it over to our students to talk about what maybe they're involved with and some of the other things that their friends are involved with for clubs.
Hi, so I am involved in the rodeo team and club. So I'm actually not part of the team because I'm just not quite at that competition level yet. But I started breakaway roping. So I have my horse here. So I go to rope practice twice a week. And it's just a really fun time. You get to hang out with friends and ride your horse and rope calves. And it's an awesome like opportunity to like do something besides school. It's a nice little break. And then I'm also involved with the Stockman's Club, which is so we put on the Little Royal show, and we like we went to Aspirations before. We had a show team on the Stockman's Club, and so that's also a great experience too. And I'm on it again this year, and I believe we are planning to have the Little Royal. And then there's also the judging team, I know, and there's the dairy club.
Tractor club.
There's a tractor club. There's a sheep club.
Honestly, there's like a club for everything.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, there's stock dog club.
Bison club, right?
Bison club.
Environment and outdoor, right? There's also clubs from other schools like the Enviro Club and Outdoor Club, and all students, no matter what program you're in, can join these clubs, right, girls?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like for athletics too, like we have a girl in our class. She's been on the volleyball team for 5 years now.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, but they're all mainly all the athletics is out of the Lloyd campus.
But there is the rec center has like a rec volleyball league. So if you're not like on the Lakeland Rustlers team, you can go and play the fun rec stuff. I did that in my first year, and that was really good too. Helps keep you active because you kind of lose the sports from high school and you need it. So I don't believe there's any English riding clubs, but there is a ranch horse club, and they do like work like flag work, just groundwork. I think they just do like general.
Yeah, ranch roping and stuff.
Yeah, ranch roping.
Team sorting, cutting, a little bit of cutting, right? Team sorting, those
just
kinds of things.
Stuff, so.
And then there's a couple options for like living in res. You can live either like in the dorms where sometimes it's a two bedroom and then sometimes it's a 1 bedroom. And then there's also townhouses. That's where I lived my first year. So it's just 4 people and it's kind of like a house almost. And you share a room with someone. And then there's in your second year, you can apply for a Delta. Mm-hmm. And that's where I lived last year, and it is a house with 4 people, and you get your own room, and then there's 2 bathrooms and a kitchen and a living room as well.
Yeah, it's a nice little house.
Yes, and then right on campus, which is super nice.
Yes.
You don't have to walk very far to go to your class.
I think the tip for residents is apply early, and you can always cancel. I think it's up to 2 weeks before the start of classes. So get in there, get your preferences, and then you'll have a better chance at your picks.
And you can apply for like certain dorms to fit your like needs, kind of like there's dorms that are like dry dorms if you want to live in a dry dorm, and then there's also dorms for like more studious people, and
The sooner you apply for res, the better, I think, right, girls?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
if you have somebody that you want to live with, you can apply to live with them. Yep. Otherwise, they are randomly assigned.
Yeah, so last year I lived with 2 of my best friends, and then we had just another random girl, but then we also became friends with her very fast.
Of course you would, Jordy.
Yes.
I thought Jordy would be.
I think it's open now, Krista, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. Like, I think you can apply now. We can find out for you. Great questions, you guys. Like, really, these are the kinds of things you need to know if you're coming to post-secondary, without a doubt. I just wanted to mention on the club thing, the clubs are run by students. Every club has a faculty member or a staff mentor that kind of guides, but really the students run the clubs. They're self-funded. So yeah. So Taylor's question about English, we don't have an English riding club, but I kind of wish we did, because I would love to ride. I would love to join that club because I ride a lot Western, but I know English riding is super good for your balance, and I really regret not taking English lessons when I was younger, Taylor. So maybe you can come and start a club like that.
Josie, are you able to speak to, is there anything like in the community that would support that, or resources if someone had interest in that?
Well, I know there's 4-H clubs that provide both riding, like English and Western, but I'm not sure, Kyle. And certainly we have people that are, have great expertise in English riding in the community. Sonia Wilkinson, for example, and others. There's a lady north of town who's really well known for that. But I appreciate that I think, Taylor, you said you were coming from Calgary, and I think I have a niece that rides English and does eventing and jumping and all kinds of things down there. And I know that it's big, and there's a lot of great people serving that part of the equine world there. So we're not that robust, Taylor, here, but there are students. I've seen students in the past with their English saddles and riding in the free time that's allotted. You can bring your horse to school, even though you don't join the rodeo team. We have a really big rodeo team here, but you need to apply very early if you're bringing a horse, because we get way more applications. I think we can host about 100 Kaylee horses on campus. Kaylee would know from her work on the farm, but
yeah, definitely apply early, because there was a huge amount of horse boarders this year. So some had to board off campus this year just because there were so many. So if you're gonna bring a horse, definitely apply early. And there's not really horses here that you can just use. You have to bring your own, or you could. I share my friends sometimes. So I brought a horse here, and both me and my friend split costs, but we both use him.
And if the boarding fills up at the college, there are people in the community that'll allow you to board too, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't remember what the boarding fees are, Riley. I don't have them updated in my mind here, and it depends a little bit on the year. So this year they may be a bit more expensive because feed costs, we know, are quite expensive because of the drought. So we look at that from a year-to-year basis, depending on feed costs. And there's, I think, 3 options for boarding, 3 different sort of penning situations: an indoor box stall, I think some shared penning, bigger or larger. I don't know. Again, Kaylee, maybe you can help me with.
Yeah, so I pay the minimum one. So I just have an outdoor pen. I don't have like a tie stall or a box stall or anything. So I pay $750 for just the first semester. And that includes feed. And then I pay an extra $50 to have a tack box in the rodeo barn, just to keep my tack. So, but then I think with the box stall, it's another $200 or $300, and then with just a tie stall, I believe it's just another $100.
I was going to give you a link to, there's some horse boarding information on the college website, but it's undergoing some, well, we launched a new website here just a month ago. So that page is under construction, but check back in there, or if you happen to talk to one of our enrollment advisors, they'd be able to give you some information about that as well.
Yeah, there's some horse boarding forms, and you really want to have a look at those. We have expectations around certain shots for horses, and we have to be biosecure here when we're bringing all these horses together. So there's some expectations there, and there's a lot of information that really outlines how that all works. So. We don't have farriers on campus, but we have access to farriers, and we actually do farrier training. So we have continuing education programs, but there are a number of really good farriers in the country, and our equine coordinator, our rodeo club coordinator, equine coordinator, Ashley, will bring a farrier on campus and let everybody know. And then if you can book a time for your horse to get their pedicure.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. Is there any other outstanding questions, or Jordy and Kaylee, if there's some information you think that's important for students to know about that we didn't cover? Josie, if we missed anything?
I see Krista's typing a bit here. And
I'll just watching those little dots go.
Yeah, I do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jordy.
I just want to say that you don't have to be from like a farm or anything to come here. Like, I'm from a cattle farm, like cow-calf operation, and I went into crops where, like, my friend, she doesn't even have a farm, and she came into crop technology. So you definitely don't need to have any prior experience to come and be, and especially even to be on SMF or anything.
And that's probably one of the advantages of the SMF and the practical learning is, and I say this, students can ask the questions. I can appreciate it can be tough, right? When you're maybe you haven't been embedded in the industry, and then you're in a class with students that are, since they were, born. But it's kind of neat because you can do a lot of learning very quickly on the farm, and just asking your classmates and talking in the dorms. And our students are fantastic. Like, I just can't tell you, I'm just so proud always of our students here. And like was said, we have a really good culture here. It's safe. I see a lot of kindness all the time, all those kinds of things. So, yeah, and I think it'd be pretty easy for someone who doesn't have an ag background to catch it very quickly. And it was one of my concerns when I started here 15 years ago, is how do we get non-traditional ag students into our ag program? Because we know it's super important, because we're short of employees all the time, right? And we don't have enough pure ag students. But it's actually worked out 100 times better than I thought, because I think because our farm is right next door and you can learn, if you're out in a lab and the instructor uses a term that you're not familiar with, you can just ask your person standing beside you, what's a heifer? And they'll tell you, right? And you don't have to stick your hand up in class and be embarrassed. So there's a lot of organic learning that happens. And I'm really super proud to say that our non-ag students do just as well, and they have terrific jobs. And we have faculty that don't have traditional ag backgrounds, and I think it's super important to our industry to be, super inclusive and to get the perspectives of people that aren't traditionally in our industry too. So
I think Josie, you prompted me on the awesome points, and one of my favorite stories, a graduate from crop technology last spring. I saw her cry twice while she was a student here. And the first time was in her first year. She came in, she was one of these students that was interested in agriculture, but wasn't from a farm. And right away in the first couple of weeks of classes, she was so intimidated by everything, and she failed a quiz, and she was in my office crying. Fast forward to her second year, she's in student managed farm. She's running the combine, she's running the grain truck, and student managed farm is powered by New Holland, so we have access to New Holland equipment here, and they also support our students really well. So they have a scholarship for students that are involved in student managed farm, and so we recognize people that really immerse themselves. And so we did recognize her with one of those scholarships, so she got a nice check for $1,000, and she got that, and that was the second time that I saw her cry, and it was because she had worked on these skills and got this experience, and it was amazing growth for her, and she's happily employed in the industry now. So a great success story from a non-ag background.
is that the student that I rode the combine with, Kyle?
She was out in the field that day. I don't think it wasn't, it could have been, but yeah.
So
there's lots of that. Yeah.
About switching between crop and business after first year in diploma. You can switch between programs. Again, best to get the details from Alan McMillan, unless maybe Kyle knows, because he was program head of crop science and now he's program head of the technology degree. You can switch, like we don't say no, you can't switch, but I'm not sure sometimes if the courses align so that you get full credit. Kyle, do you know?
Yeah, if you started out in either one and then decided to switch, you'd be looking at 3 years to get your diploma. It wouldn't necessarily be full course load in all those semesters, but just the way things line up to get those required credits, it would probably end up taking an extra year.
And there is something called a double diploma. So you can take 2 years of animal science or 2 years of crop science and 1 year of agriculture business. So those 2 years are done, then you go into ag business for 1 year and you graduate with 2 diplomas. So it's called our double dip program. And that's cool. We have a number of students that take advantage of that too. And industry really loves those students as well. So.
And it goes the other way as well. If you're more interested in the business to start, you can get your 2-year diploma in ag business and then top it up with some production knowledge in animal science or crop technology. Which is, to get 2 diplomas in 3 years, it's a steal of a deal.
Yeah, I did it, and it was definitely worth it.
She's a double dipper and now a degreeer.
And we have just because we're getting close to the end here, but we have in March, it's called Ag Sighting. And it's attached to our Little Royal Weekend, which is sort of when all our clubs do different activities, sort of wrap up some of their year end. And during Ag Sighting, you can be on campus, you can experience classes, you can get tours of the farm and all that kind of thing. And more in-depth answers related to lots of the things that we're talking about here today. So I encourage you to have a look at that in March. Not sure when the date is or if we've even picked the date yet, but it's an annual event. And yes, you can come to campus and be a student for a day. We have student for a day offerings too. So whenever suits your schedule. And yes, you can meet with an advisor, you can meet with Kyle, you can meet with our students, for sure.
I'll put my email in the chat here. If anyone has any follow-up questions after the session, they want some information or try to navigate who to talk to, feel free to reach out to me, whether that's about the ag technology program or any of the diploma programs as well. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. I guess we're nearing the end of our time here, so I want to thank everyone for coming out and finding out about the Bachelor of Agriculture Technology program. Thank you to Kaylee and Jordy, our current students, for providing their perspectives and experience, and to Dean Josie Van Lent also for joining us and sharing. Last thing, I'm gonna put these links in the chat for the free registration today. So use that link and get signed up, save yourself $90. And also to complete that information form where you can get entered into win some prizes. So thanks everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Killian, Jordy, super proud. Hashtag Lakeland proud.
Okay.
Take
bye-bye.
care. Thank you for joining us.